Welcome to the class. This is Intro to Coding, and we will be learning about computer science fundamentals using the Python programming language. The first step of our journey here is we are going to go to our browser and type in codecreative.us. Hit enter. It'll take you to here. These different tabs represent different curriculums that you can learn, but we're interested in the Pac-Man Ghosts labeled Python, and we'll click on that. Looking at our useful links box here, useful links, we can click on daily schedule, and this here is going to have the date posted up at the top. A set of standards that we're going to be working on, an objective for the day, the milestones that you need to complete for the day, and any announcements that I need to get out there. This is going to be projected onto the screen in the classroom, so you don't need to worry about this too much. It's only when you're absent and you want to know what we've been working on, you can come here to the daily schedule and find out if you missed anything. Okay, so that's the daily schedule. And then if we skip down a couple, we have the course syllabus, and here we have a website version of the syllabus. But if you want a Word version, a printable version, you can hover over this text and click, and a Word version will download onto your desktop. Right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the Word version and go over that together. My name's Mr. Lee, and this is the course description here. We're basically going to be using Python and game design to drive this course, and my main mission is to see to it that if any of you have the potential of enjoying computer science and solving problems using these different tools that we have, these different programming languages that are available to us, and that where you are the type of person that would enjoy a career in computer science, it's my mission to expose you to it and to show you how enjoyable it is and how good you can be at it, right? So that's my end goal. I hope that this class will be fun for you, and I hope that at the end of it you'll be excited and wanting to learn more about what's possible. So if we take a look down, we have a topic list. This is all gibberish to you. This is all meaningless if you have not had any experience in computer science. The only thing that would stand out would maybe be game design, right? So the way this class is going to work is we're going to go through each of these topics and learn how to use them in Python. And once we have all of our tools and our toolbox is filled, then we're going to apply them towards building a video game. Our grading scale is standard, right? A, B, C, and D at 90, 80, 70, and 60. If you earn less than 60, you'll have a fail in the class. And if you look here at the breakdown, we have 40% are projects, 52% is classwork homework, and 8% is participation. The first two are pretty straightforward. These are the work that you do in class. The projects are the bigger assignments that we assign in the class, and participation we'll talk about in a little bit. So if we come on down here, what I like to use and what's been working for me is that using the 80% rule. And the 80% rule is you guys will be working at your stations throughout the week, and Monday passes, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday pass. And on Friday, I'm going to walk around and I'm going to take a look and see where everybody is in the curriculum. So if everybody's on step 7 in the curriculum, or 80% of you guys are at step 7 in the curriculum, then that's what's going to be due for homework, right? So the majority of you will not have homework, okay? But some of you, maybe one or two, who haven't completed up to step 7 will need to do so. Okay. My idea of this class is that it should be a stress-free environment for you to learn about computer science. Okay, you shouldn't be at home worried about this class and have it take up time in your day so that you're not able to fully devote yourselves to your other core classes like English or math or history. Okay, of course, I would love it if you guys dive into a project and spend time at home completing a video game project or completing an additional functionality. I would love that, but it's not required. Okay. If you have a very booked schedule, then all I expect from you is for you to be focused and working from the beginning of the class to the end of the class, and that's it. All right. Okay. So here we have participation. We have a participation grade of 8%, and you're given those points in the beginning of the year. Right? So everybody is given those points automatically in the beginning of the year. And if you break one of the rules that are listed here, like being respectful to your classmate, or maybe not engaging in the textbook activity and projects, possibly chewing gum, then I'll take a point away from participation and your grade will go down. Now, these set of rules are not complete and comprehensive. So during the first 2 weeks while you're learning about what my expectations are for behavior in the classroom, then we will not have participation points taken away. Right? So let's say we're in the middle of week 2 and Bobby is in the corner and he's bouncing a coin on the table, right? Distracting the people around him. Well, I'm going to let him know and I'm going to say, Bobby, let's put that coin away and focus on our work. He's going to put the coin away. I am not going to take away a participation point because we have not completed the first 2 weeks of class. Right? But if we are in week 5 and he does that same action, I'm going to let him know, and I'm also going to take away a participation point. So that's how that's going to work, and hopefully you'll come to understand that all of my participation rules are geared towards you being an active learner in the class from the time you sit down when the bell rings to the time you leave when the bell rings again. If you can do that, you will not have any problems with me. Okay? We are moving down to behavioral consequences. Right? Every 2 times you break a participation rule, then your citizenship grade will be lowered by a full grade. So if you're at a A, it will go down to a B. And not only that, but your semester grade will be lowered by 0.5 percentage point. And after 4 instances in a semester, then I'm going to email home. And after 8 instances in a semester, I'm going to have a meeting with the parent and administrator. Okay. Hopefully we don't get there. And we are a well-behaved class who is on task and ready to learn every day. That's my vision. That's my dream. Okay, let's hope we can realize that dream. If we look at the online resources, we have my website at codecreative.us, which you'll find to be a wealth of information, as I have many instructional videos on the platform. And we also have a website here, and it's actually Runestone Academy. They just changed their name and rebranded themselves, so it's runestoneacademy.org. Okay. This is where our textbook is at. And we'll go over these 2 online resources in a bit. But first, let's talk about the cell phone policy. The cell phones policy is that I do not want to see the cell phones in class. Now, I often am asked, can I use my cell phone for music? Can I use my cell phone to look at something while I'm waiting for you to become free so I can ask you a question? The answer to both of those and to all similar questions is no, I do not want to see the cell phone. Right? Leave it in your backpack, pretend it does not exist. If you do have an emergency and you do need to text your parents or give them a call, let me know, and I have no problems with you taking your cell phone outside in the hall and taking care of business. Okay. So that is the cell phone policy, and you can contact me at dlee@smusd.us if you have any issues with the class, if you have any conceptual problems. Email me. I'm really good at getting back to you quickly. So go ahead and get this document signed and dated by your parents and yourself and bring it back. It's going to be our first homework assignment. Okay, so that is the syllabus. And then we're going to go ahead and look at the textbook. And so when you get to this link here, you're going to go ahead and click on this link, and it's going to take you here. We need to click sign up. And so when you click on sign up, it's going to ask you for all this information, and the important part of this is the course name. Okay, the course name that we're going to use is SMHS. That's going to ensure that I'm able to see all of your work and that I am able to, correct it and have you grouped all in the same class and so on. Right? So go ahead and hit that and sign in. I'm not going to do that because I already have a username and password. So when you do sign up for the class, it's going to take you here. Okay, and this is our online textbook, How to Think Like a Computer Scientist. It's a very well-known textbook that has different versions. It has a version in Python, a version in Java, a version in JavaScript, a version in Perl, a version in many different programming languages, which should emphasize the fact that all programming languages do the same things. Okay, they just have different syntax, meaning you say them differently. Okay, so the commands are essentially the same, and it's just the way that you say the command or spell it out is different. Okay, so we're coming into our textbook. We're going to start here with Chapter 1, General Introduction, and they're very short and to the point sections here, right? You're going to read that and move on to the next section. Sometimes when you're going through this textbook, they will have little boxes where you're able to write code in and hit save and run, right? For instance, this one here prints out this mathematical operation, and it gives us 512. This one prints out this mathematical operation. It gives us 64, right? I can change this from 2 to 12 and hit enter, and it becomes an astronomical number, so big that my web browser is currently frozen. Okay, so I'll go ahead and refresh that so that we're not stuck forever. Or maybe I could just close it like that. Okay, and the way that this is going to work is that you're going to complete the reading, and then you're going to work on the exercises. Okay, and then once you complete the exercises, then you're going to complete the readings, complete the next exercise, and so on. Okay, but what I want you to do is I want you to follow a certain order. Okay, and the order that I want you to follow them in is right here under assignments. Okay, so you see this little link here. We're going to click on that, and what is the first assignment is read General Introduction. Right? So if I come over here, I click on that, it tells you which sections of the book I want you to read, and you're going to go through these one at a time and read through them. When you're done, you can come down here to question section, and you're going to answer these questions in these little boxes here. Okay. Sometimes these boxes ask you to write a program. Sometimes the questions ask you to answer a question, like write a meaningful sentence. When you write a program, it should run. Okay. When you're answering a question, it should not run. Right, so there's no problem with you just using this space to write the answer to a question. Okay, but when it says write a program, then it should be able to compile and run and print out the correct answer. Okay, so once you've complete all of that, then you're going to come on back here and you're going to move on to the next section, and the next section, and the next section, right? And then every once in a while, you'll see Code Creative Project. And what does that mean? Well, that means you've learned enough skills where I want you to apply them towards a project. And where are you going to find that kind of a project? Well, we come here, and you can see there's a link here. We can copy that, paste it, and go to that link. And here is the project. Okay, you'll find a rubric, add-ons for videos telling you how to complete extra functionalities if you want to. And here are some examples of projects that others have completed in the past. Okay, So the way that this is all going to work out is basically you're going to be reading through the textbook and eventually doing a code creative project. And then reading through the textbook, then doing a code creative project. Reading through the textbook, doing a code creative project. And if you want to just take a look here, we're back to this web page and you scroll down. This is the first project. Okay, draw something. This is the second project, Racing Turtles. This is the third project, Choose Your Own Adventure. So we're going to be reading through the textbook and then jumping back to my website. Reading through the textbook, jumping back to my website. And we'll keep on doing that until we get to the strings chapter, which is not too much. It's I think it's number 9. Yeah, chapter 9 here. So we're not going to go past chapter 9. Okay. And once you finish that, then we're going to move on to the game design portion, where we're going to start by building the video game Pong, and then something that I call Density, and then a shooting game called Raiden 2, and then finally you're going to apply all the skills that you learned through these tutorials towards a final project. Okay. Yeah, and I guess we can talk about these video game tutorials. I have 2 different versions, a written tutorial and a video tutorial. Okay, I prefer you to go through the video tutorial because it contains more information, I believe, and it's easier to digest. There's a rubric here, but if I click on this first tutorial, Beginnings for Pong, you can see here that we have it separated into tasks. Right, create the screen. This video will show you how to create the screen. Right? Add a game loop. This video will show you how to add a game loop while explaining how to do it. Right? Add a background, paddle sprite. Every once in a while, there'll be a challenge exercise. And the challenge exercise is taking something you've already done and doing it again in a different context. Right? So what you've done here is create a paddle, basically. Now, what's the challenge exercise? Create a second paddle. Right? You've created the paddle for the left side of the screen. Now create a paddle for the right side of the screen. And so that is going to take you through how to use Pygame to build Pong. And then we're going to learn about more functionalities here, more functionalities here. And then finally, you can apply them to build your own project. And if you want to take a look at the end result, where you're going to get to at the end of the year, you can click here on Student Build Your Own Game Examples, BYOG. And if I click here, you can see that there's quite a few student examples, because what I do is I have the students, or have you create a video going over your project and talking about some of the difficult aspects of completing your project and some of the skills that you needed to do so. Right? So this is Ice and Fire by Jeremy. Here's Minesweeper. Commando game, which is like a side scroller, Final Fantasy type of role-playing game, Pac-Man, Flappy Bird. You can go through these and watch these videos, and you'll see that they're all very different, right? And why is that? It's because the Pygame, which is the module that we're going to use to build these video games, it gives you a set of tools to build any kind of game that you want, right? So yeah, I mean, as long as it's 2D, then you should be able to realize any kind of vision that you have of what you want to build, right? And so, yeah, well, this is basically what we're going to be doing at the second half of the year. But as you can see, the entire curriculum for the class is laid out, right? We have all of our textbook here, all of the different question sets. We have all the projects here that I want you to do, and then we have our video game design projects here at the end, ending with our final project, which is going to be a game of your own design. Now, some people who were very enthusiastic learners, what they did is they went through this as quickly as possible, and they were able to spend a lot of time on their final project. Not only that, but maybe teams of them were able to finish early and spend lots of time on their final project. So I've had people who finished, who began their final project in February, and were able to spend 3.5 months as a team of 3 towards one video game. Okay, and so let's see, who was that actually? That was Project Arc, right? So you could take a look at that. Some of these are more impressive than others, but basically what I would love for you guys to do is to have a lot of time to complete your final projects, because this is where you're really applying all of the skills that you've learned for the past however long it takes you to get through the curriculum, right? Not only that, but you're also coming across problems that can't be solved using the tools that you've learned so far. So you got to look online, you need to look into documentation. You need to find new modules in Python to help you solve these different problems that you're encountering, right? And so final project is just a great time where you can continue learning beyond what this curriculum has for you to learn, right? And so I would love for that to happen. If there were many of you who were made it your mission to complete the curriculum as quickly as possible, so that you can spend as much time as possible here in your final project, so that you can build as complete a game as possible. If you want to see the most complete game that was built in the past 4 years I've been teaching here, it's this one right here, Boost, right? Go ahead and take a look at what he did, and you can see that the possibilities are pretty high up there, right? He made this complete game that could have been sold as a game on the Nintendo Entertainment System, back in the early '90s, right? So yeah, that is the project. That is the class. And as we end this video, this long video, one thing I want to emphasize is, if you have an issue, if you have a question, if there's something that you don't understand as you're going through these videos, as you're going through the textbook, as you're answering questions, talk to me. Ask me those questions, and we will need to talk about it at my desk. Okay? This class is very dependent on your ability to communicate with me. All right? So if you're one of those students who are afraid to talk to the teacher, you might have a lot of problems with this class. Okay? Now, if you are one of those kinds of people, you need to get over it and start to ask me to help you understand this material. Because there's going to be some of you who are very good at computer science right off the bat, naturally. Right? There are others of you who will have problems with it, but you can work through it. Right? You can work through it yourself. You can ask your friends questions, and you begin to understand it more deeply. And then there's going to be another group of you guys where it's going to be very difficult for you to understand these concepts, because they're so different from anything that you've learned previously in the past. And so that group right there, if you're having trouble with this material, you need to work with me throughout the year so that I can make sure that you get to the place where you can go ahead and build your own game. Okay? So, yeah, please work with me. I want to see you succeed, and I do not want you to end this year trying to hide from me throughout the year as you hide from the curriculum as well. Okay? So that's about it. I hope that you guys have fun throughout this year, and let's get started.